Welcome back, everybody, to Corked Stats, brought to you by the Mayo Media Network here on YouTube. Please get down there, make sure you subscribe. Wait till the end, make sure you like it, then smash that thumbs up button. It's your host, John Laghezza, the big dude with the big mouth from the Big Apple. Big Johnny Stud, coming to you worldwide from Brooklyn, New York, as always, coming out the seat. As always, it's Christmas time, man. I love this time of year. Before we get started, please extend a happy and healthy holiday wish to yourself, your family, your loved ones, or whoever makes this time of year special for you. I know without mine, there would be no me. Without any further ado, everybody, let's get down and do this thing we're doing. We're going to keep doing these deep dives. I had the starter, that second ace for those Los Angeles Trolley Dodgers on the front of my mind, Julio Urias, and I just couldn't get away from it, so I had to dive on in and see what we see. He's going extremely high in fantasy drafts, and it's very important to get out the microscope when you're making these decisions when it pertains to high draft capital cost, right? That shouldn't be a secret. I know I have a series of these videos on the Corked Stats YouTube channel itself. I've done Max, Nola, Bueller, Giolito. So I'm making my way down the ranks. And again, I like to preface these videos with, if the outcome comes out like less than stellar, it doesn't mean I don't think these guys are any good. It just means we're trying to find the differences between the 5 best pitchers in the league. So without any further ado, let's take a look at Julio Urias, that lefty for the Dodgers. Check out the overlay. You can see all the StatCast stuff looking really good, and it's reflected in last year's stats. He made all 32 starts for 185 and 2/3 innings. Good for 20 wins. Gotta love that. 2.96 ERA, a 1.02 whip. Jumping off the page, the indicators slightly higher than that. 3.6 Sierra, 3.73 xFIP, but his OPS at 612. I like to include OPS in my surface stats, namely ERA and WHIP, just to put a third point on the line. Of course, any 2 points can make a line. A third point should either validate or invalidate that. Let's pop up into the disciplinary metrics. He was excellent. 26% K to only 5% walk, leaving you with a 21% K minus walk. Of course, anything above 20, just excellent. 12% swing and strike is very good. Maybe not great for our ace. CSW, that's your called strikes plus whiffs. You want to be at 30. He's at 31. His chase rate, 3 ticks better than average at 36. And his in-zone contact rate at 85%, which is really, again, just average. The reason I bring that up, we're going to get to that in a little bit. Contact metrics, another one of the baskets I like to look at. Really good. Very strong. 264 WOBA, 272 expected WOBA. Hard hit rates on Fangraphs and StatCast at 31 or below, which is truly elite. The difference there being StatCast uses a raw 95 mile an hour metric. Blast rate at 5, WOBA on contact 329, expected WOBA on contact at 340. Yes, it's a touch higher, but they're both extremely low. Home runs per 9, just below 1. Again, keep that number in mind. Urias was fantastic across the board. He keeps the ball down 40% of the time, which is excellent. The line drive rate below 20, in fact below 19, the fly ball rate above 40, but I don't want you to overreact to that. That's why you come here to Corked Stats, to get the nuance, to get the context. 10% of those fly balls were infield flies, which pretty much have a 0 batting average against. Nothing to worry about there. Hardly a hole in the game for Urias when we look at last year's results. Now, in my handicapping work, I like to look for weaknesses, of course, and one of the best places to start is at splits. Some pitchers are split-proof, meaning they carry 300 WOBA or less at home, on the road, against righties, and against lefties. Well, Urias has earned himself the term of being super split-proof because those numbers are all below 275. You can see them up on the overlay. And when you look at the game log, really not a lot to be desired. His quality starts were high, but I like to circle money starts. Quality starts, I think, are really flawed. I stopped using them. 6 innings pitched and 3 earned runs allowed really are just 50th percentile metrics on both sides of that. So I like to use 7 innings pitched minimum, 2 earned runs maximum. Those are money starts, hence the name. He did that 7 times, which is phenomenal. But strikeouts a bit low. He only had 9 Ks 5 times. He did go 6 innings 15 times, which is good, but he only threw 100 pitches one time. Again, we do have the microscope out, that electron microscope, trying to hyper magnify the details. Again, it's not there to overreact to, but when we are comparing the very best pitchers in the league, something like that our perception of duration may be the thing that tips the scale. Nothing to overreact about, but just keep those things in mind. Urias was really, really excellent. Now let's get into the arsenal, something that I like to do. We're going to get granular in these videos and not just explain what happened, but we're going to explain why and how we think that will affect what we think will happen in the future. So let's get up in the arsenal. You could see the year-over-year overlay on the spin rate is good, as well as the vertical break. The rise on those balls is really good. But the bottom chart of those three is where I'd like to direct your attention. Velocity is down year-over-year since 2019, right? We saw a peak in 2019, but since then, we have seen a drop year-over-year, and we're talking about a mile an hour, maybe a touch more on that fastball. Again, not something that you automatically overreact to, but let's see how that's affected him. Let's get into the fastball specs. And again, so you see the drop in velocity, a clear drop there. It's his most used pitch. It's also his worst. So let's look at the effect of the velocity drop. You see next to it the swinging strike rate drop in accordance with the velo drop, which again subsequently took the X slug up through the roof. Right off the bat, my initial take here is I'm kind of worried about the fastball. That's not a trend that we want to get behind. We see down there lots of home runs given up, 15 home runs on the fastball in 2021. Check out exactly what it looked like. So you could see the location on the fastball is pretty poor. It's really being centered around the middle of the plate. Like, just take a second and look at that. On the right, you'll see the location of the home runs hit. Wow, the vast majority of those are dead center. Really no surprise there why those balls ended up in the seats. And when we look at the results on the fastball, going back to 2020, he's thrown the pitch 1,800 times, not a small sample. The swinging strike rate is below 12. The heart rate, that ba-bump, 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 over 30, and we see that reflected clearly in the graph. That ball is living in the middle of the zone. It's had a 441 slug, a better than 7% barrel, and a 380 expected WOBA on contact. That is kind of an issue, and man, when we're talking about these top-tier SPs, fastball efficacy is something that I find has differentiated these people. Check out the Walker Buehler video on the Corked Stats channel if you want to see what I mean. So again, this doesn't have me jumping ship on Urias just yet, but I think I've given pretty good reason to be concerned about the fastball. Let's get into the secondary offerings, which are just excellent. The next pitch he uses is the curve. Notice the spike in that graph on the left. So we saw a spike in curve usage. Now this is generally where projection systems can miss, because a change in profile, whether it be a usage mix or what we've seen with the curve, really a totally different pitch develop, that changes the trajectory, and it really should affect how we look at past performance. So check out the use for the curve. As it spiked, it has a new profile. Notice I have the horizontal movement up, and you see the movement metrics on the bottom. So the Dodgers are using this new curve here that's not really having the vertical break we're used to, but having these crazy advances in horizontal break. And then look at the subsequent effect of X slug after the change from 2019. That pitch has been really, really great. Something that we circle here on the show. Not just any change is going to be good, changes that really take a pitch in a positive direction, something that we've seen from Urias. So as much as I might not be into the fastball, I am really loving the curve. Not just the fact he's using it more, but it's a new shape, and it has been a menace. That pitch really just excellent. The third pitch that he's offering is a same hand side changeup. Look at the hex map. Look at the location there. The most it's being offered is right on the black. What a phenomenal pitch. That curve that he's throwing to righties only really has A+ locations. Again, the misses are all away. 0 home runs allowed in the last 2 years. Last I checked, 0 is good. You go back to 2019, the pitch has been excellent. A 17% swinging strike rate with a 29% whiff rate, 36% put away. It has been excellent. 313 WOBA on contact. So if you do get to stick on it, it's nearly impossible to do anything with. The secondary breaking pitches for Urias are excellent. Make no mistake. And when you look at them in combination, again, check out the release points. They're all on top of each other. In fact, I almost challenge you to find the changeups I mentioned. That is really an element of an arsenal that is very, very important, and I think is lost on a lot of analysis that really just doesn't dive in this way. And again, it just is what it is, and it's what I do because I think it's really effective for fantasy baseball looking forward, and then for betting, even on a micro level. If you follow my stuff, we're putting up double-digit return on investment betting baseball daily. My only 3 years in the business, we've done it all 3 years. No one else is doing that. We are always defeating the market. So listen, I'm not going to change what I'm doing, and that's getting down into the dirt and getting the scars, getting the bruises, making sure that every stone really is being turned over. So you see the tight release point for across the offerings, which of course is really effective. But then to go back to the usage and efficient nature of those breaking pitches in a pairing as a couple, the change and the curve have opposite observed spins, which you see the graph on the bottom left, but then they have opposite breaks, so that makes it incredibly deceptive. It looks the same coming out, it comes from the same point, but it ends up in two totally different places. No wonder why these breaking offerings are carrying Urias, even with a bit of a struggle with the fastball. So it's plus deception and the tight release. Almost nothing to worry about there outside of that fastball. So depending on how you processing and digesting the work and the argument I've put out, if you're not afraid of the fastball, you should be bumping Urias right up there to the very top, up with everybody. So let's kind of look forward, and I think the best way to do that is to get into the projection systems, which I didn't mean to knock. Those people are all orders of magnitude smarter than I am, but I think they would even admit, that flaw. I've had all the big guys on my show last offseason, and I think if you want to check out the Corked Stats podcast with that, a lot of that info actually is pretty evergreen with understanding projections and how to use them going forward. So Steamer, my favorite projection systems for pitchers, has 185 innings pitched, 13 wins, a 3.89 ERA, 1.2 whip. And all that stuff seems pretty digestible. Again, I think they're actually leaning in the direction where I am, where we're really seeing some kind of regression across the board. But I wanted to circle one thing in particular that Steamer is seeing, and I think I have the answer why that I gave to you just previously. And Steamer has Urias' home run rate at 1.33. Now, the reason I'm using that kind of inflection, even though it's not great, is because that would be his career high by about 50%. So that's something that you have to take note of. And I think I may have reverse engineered why they think that. So I got to be honest, I am a little worried about Urias going forward. I don't see a repeat of before, but again, I want to make sure that I go all the way. So I was kind of interested in the sequencing when it came to the fastball, and it's been really strong. He knows when to use it, I should say. Sorry about the flip back and forth. But you can see the deep, thick bands to the left when he's behind and how it thins out, meaning the selection becomes more targeted, becomes more narrowed, meaning when he's ahead, he's using the fastball, and when he's behind, he's using the breaking stuff. Then that probably applies to men on base as well. So where I'm getting with that is I believe Urias knows about the flaw with the fastball, and you're only getting it in the most ideal situations, allowing him to maximize on a pitch that maybe isn't the best. So, is it a problem in the fastball? I mean, I think so, but I don't think it's enough to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Of course, you have a great context. He's in a good division. He has an excellent bullpen behind him and a very good offense to give him run support. So, I still have Urias as an SP1. Let me look him in the eye in case he's watching this. I do have Julio Urias as an SP1 this year, but as I'm doing my ranks, again, making my way down this, I have him right now as SP9 overall. So that would probably put him in the back of the second round, where I think he's a perfectly fine pick. But again, I don't think I like him more than someone going maybe right behind him in Lucas Giolito. And again, if you're wondering what I think about that and you like the way I lay out these arguments, please check out the Corked Stats channel, subscribe over there, and check out the Lucas Giolito video. You know, I really don't make definitive claims. I just tell you what I think, and I hope I do a really good job of backing up why I think that. So that's really my take on Julio Urias, the best I could do in a nutshell, and why I do like him, but I won't be pushing him up. And I can see as I make my way again down these ranks with these videos, keep an eye out for them here on the Mayo Media Network or at the Corked Stats channel. You know, I could see other pitchers getting pushed up above him. But Urias does have duration and, again, all the contextual positives that I mentioned before. So I'm really not too worried, but I am worried just a little bit. So thanks, everybody, for sticking around and picking up what I'm putting down here at the Mayo Media Network. If you like the show, just the style, if you want to hear a pitcher to cover, something you want added or something you want removed, get up in those comments below. I will answer you. Let me know how I'm doing, and tell Patty he made a good choice with adding the Corked Stats crew to the Mayo Media Network. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful, healthy, happy, and prosperous Christmas, holiday, otherwise, or New Year. Really, thank you all so much for sticking around. I guess that'll do it. And remember, when you work this hard, it feels a lot less like luck. All right, everybody. I'll catch you on the flip side, yo. Peace.